All right, this lesson is factoring, the first lesson on factoring. We're just going to introduce you to factoring and solving these polynomial equations that we looked at in an earlier lesson. So we'll first investigate this graphically. So what does it mean for us to have a solution to something? So we have x squared equals 4. So graphically, what do you think this represents? The x squared is going to be the blue graph, the parabola, and the 4 is my horizontal line, the red line. And so graphically, this represents these points of intersection. We have 2 in this case. So my answer here is going to be x equals -2, and x equals a +2. We'll just write a +2 there. And we can kind of verify this, right? We can take both of these and plug them in. What's -2 squared? 4. What's 2 squared? It's 4. Example 2. Again, let's use the following graph to solve the equation. We're looking for the points of intersection. So here's one right here. And all we care about in this case is the x coordinate. So this is going to be x equals 0. And the other one's going to be this guy up here at x equals 4. And both of these check out. 0 squared equals 4 times 0, and 4 squared is 16, which equals 4 times 4. So both of those work out. We're not always given the graph, though. Let's use the TI-384 calculator to determine these. So let's use the graphing calculator to solve x squared minus 4x plus 2 equals 0. So step 1, we're going to put the left side of the equation into y1 and the right side into y2. You can switch that around if you want to. That's just generally what I do. So press y equals, clear out if you have any other graphs in there, clear it out, left side into y1, and then the right side into y2. It is to your benefit if you will do this while I'm doing it. So pause the video so you can give yourself time to do these. All right, when you press zoom 6, this will graph it on the standard viewing window. So that means we've got a 10, -10, 10, -10. So that's our x min and x max and y min, y max. You can adjust this if you press the window button on the calculator. So although we can't really see it, there actually is a line on that graph. It graphed it right here. So we're trying to find these points of intersection here. And it's kind of hard to do that just through inspection, right? You could kind of trace around there, but we want to get exactly what are those values. So we're going to press second trace to access the calculate menu. Select number 5. It's going to ask you 3 questions. Identify the first curve, press enter. Identify the second curve, press enter, and then guess, press enter. So this first point of intersection, just press enter 3 times, you get about 0.586. So these little squigglies mean about. It means there's some rounding going on there. Now we need to find the other point. So visually we can tell that there's another point of intersection here. So you repeat steps 3 and 4, press second trace, number 5, enter, enter, but this time before you press enter again, otherwise you'll just find that same point of intersection. You've got to scroll over until you're closer to this point here. You don't have to get right on it, but you need to be closer to it. So press second trace, 5, enter, enter, and then I think I scrolled over about 8 or 9 times there, and then press enter again. Really, so long as you're closer to that second point, you'll get it. And you get about 3.414. So pause the video here. See if you can solve this one with the grapher. All right, welcome back. You may have come up with some issues, but if all you're doing is watching these, you're not going to get it. So make sure you're doing these. Okay, did you get that part? You press the right side into y1, left side into y2. Graph it. And again, we have this sort of invisible line. It's hard to see. In fact, I don't think you can see it at all. For a second trace, number 5, enter, 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 and you should get that first point of intersection, about 0.387. And then do it again, and you'll get the second point, about -0.1721. All right, we'll do a couple more. Pause the video, see if you can do one of these. Once you do 1 or 2, these are actually pretty easy. All right, welcome back. Okay, let me do one live with you. So I'm going to press y equals. I've got some stuff in here, so I'm going to clear it out. my stat plot is on, which I'm not going to use, so I'm going to click over on plot 1 and press enter. Now let's put the equation in. 3x squared minus 4x plus 2. And put a 0 over here, watch it. I generally start off with pressing zoom 6. And we're trying to find that point of intersection there. Let me press zoom, and I'm going to do zoom in. So zoom 2, and then just press enter. Well, what do we notice here? I'm not going to have any points of intersection, right? So here we have no solutions. Technically no real solutions. If we tried to do this, second trace, number 5, first curve, second curve, enter, it's going to give us an error message. It's not going to be able to find anything. No sign change, so that tells us no solutions. Okay, try this one. 3x squared equals 8. We have a choice on these, right? We can set these to 0, or we can do them like they are. So I'm just going to do it like it is. 3x squared, and then an 8. Whoop, I should have cleared this out. Okay, I'll start off with the zoom 6. Here we go. Again, I'm looking for where they intersect. So second trace, 5, enter, enter, enter. Now yours may have found the other one. I'll get one of them though at x equals about 1.63, we'll say. But I can see I've got another one. So second trace, 5, enter, enter, but this time I've got to scroll over just so long as I'm closer to that one and press enter. And notice you're going to see the word intersect here. In this case, negative. Negative 1.63. Sometimes when these are only off by a sign, we can write it a little more complexly as plus or minus 1.63. But they're all fine. Okay, try this one. 3.2x squared minus 4.1x. I'll go ahead and type it in. 3.2x squared minus 4.1x. And on the right side, 2.8. I could have switched that over and set it to 0. It doesn't really matter. Now you generally have to be able to see these points of intersection. If you don't see it, you're going to have to zoom around or manually change your window. So I can see the 2 points, so I'm going to go for it. Second trace, number 5, enter, enter, enter. Okay, so there's my first point, negative 0.49. I'll put a 0 there just to remind myself I've got a period there. And let's do the next one. Second trace, 5, enter, enter, but this time I'm going to scroll over. And this one is 1.77. And there we go. And we should be able to plug these values back in, and it should form an equation. It should be a true statement. Okay, so just a sort of a vocabulary word here. This is called zeros. The zeros of the equation are the x-intercepts. So if it asks you to find the zeros of an equation, we are looking for the x-intercepts, where y is 0. So use the graph to determine the zeros. What are my zeros here? The zeros are, there's the x-axis right here. So at negative 4 and 2. Sometimes I'll write these with these little Alfred Hitchcock braces. Could say x equals negative 4, x equals 2. It's all the same thing. How about this one? Pause the video here, think about it for a second. All right, welcome back. Not hard. Relative to other stuff we've done in here, we got 3 zeros here. 3 places where it crosses the x-axis. So -3, 0, and 2. They don't have to be written in order, but it's nice if they are. How about this one? Where are my zeros? We're assuming this goes right here. I'm making these easy for us. So we have -2 and 2. Okay, now let's find the zeros of this guy. X squared plus 7x plus 12. X squared plus 7x plus 12. I'll do the same thing I've done before, and then put a 0 there. I'll graph it. You can tell it intersects it. I need to zoom in there. Let me show you a little trick. Let's press zoom and zoom box, this very first one. And what I do is I scroll over and I find one corner that I want to create. So I'm going to put a box around this. So once you get to the one corner of the box, just press enter and scroll over and scroll down. Creates a little window there. I think you can see what's going to happen. I'm going to be able to zoom in right there. Otherwise, it gets a little hard to find. Okay, so second trace, number 5. Enter, enter, enter. There's my first one, -4. Do it again, second trace, 5. Enter, enter. Let's scroll over. Let's come a little closer. And I get -3. So -4 and -3 are the zeros of this function. I can plug these back into the equation, and I should get 0 for both of them.